That was a pretty slow day, wasn't it? Let's recap what happened on day 4 of NBA free agency. Yeah, that's it. Michael Bolton.
Thanks, Josh. It's Michael Bolton here, and it's time for another episode of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it, indeed.
You are Locked On Fantasy Basketball, your daily fantasy basketball podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast, brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd, and my rhymes are fly and my beats are sick, and my crew is big, and it keeps getting bigger. I'm also the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com, and you can find me on Twitter as always, at redrock_bball, on TikTok at redrock_bball, and on Instagram at LockedOnFantasyBasketball. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app. Create an account and use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Thank you also for making Locked On Fantasy Basketball your first listen every day. We are free, and we're available for you to sit there and double bang on all platforms. Thumbs, bangs, bells, comments. Come on. What are you waiting for? Nothing else to do, clearly. So the NBA thinks. Maybe they're all out double banging, and they're not signing any players. Really frustrating, the slowdown that happened today. So I'll be honest with you. Going to be a pretty bad show. Simple as that. Salesman. I'm a legendary salesman. It's going to be bad. Hardly anything has happened. And I am recording this at 12:30 a.m. on the morning of the 4th of July. Happy 4th of July to you guys in America. On the East Coast. I'm about to take off and land in America on the 4th of July as well. So that's why I've got to get this out. I was waiting to do more stuff and see what would happen and trying to plan out a show, and nothing went down. So apologies. There's not huge amounts that's gone on here. So we'll just talk about what did happen. The show will be short. There is going to be plenty of shows coming next week that are already pre-recorded. If you go to the YouTube page, you can see what's coming. Some interesting shows that I've done there. Any breaking news stuff, I'll record them in shorts form, I'm guessing. Not going to take a studio with me. Yeah, really frustrating. Just to see... I'm not, again, like I said on yesterday's show, I don't sit here and go, man, I want the whole league to go crazy and everyone to be moving all over the place. But there's 142 players who played in an NBA game last season who remain unsigned. They're not all going to get signed, but 60 of them will. 80 of them will, I guess. And not all of them are going to be impact players. And then there's going to be trades that's happening. And that appears to be the delay here, is there are trades being negotiated, sign-in trades because of the cap restrictions, and expansions of current deals that have been agreed to in principle to allow teams to get themselves around the restrictions that are in place. So you might see deals expanded out to 4 or 5 teams to incorporate things in to reduce apron triggering. Again, I'll talk about this at the end, but we do have a number of players who are or should be rotation players that aren't signed. It's annoying that we don't have any of them signed at the moment. There was only 3 players, I believe, signed today onto new teams. And one of them didn't even play in the NBA. And I don't know why there was a rush to sign PJ Dozier. That's the last time I mentioned PJ Dozier on this show. He signed with the Wolves. Someone else who signed with the Wolves was the big fella himself, Jingling Joe Ingles. That feels like almost a direct Kyle Anderson replacement. We talked yesterday about, hey, would Leonard Miller or Josh Minott get some of those minutes? And maybe they still do, because Ingles wasn't at his best last year. He was like 36, 37. He's going to be playing in the Olympics as well. But his passing, he's a better shooter than Anderson, way worse defender at this point in his career as well. He could get nods over Minott and over Miller, so they're probably not giving those opportunities to those guys. Ingles signed a 1-year veteran minimum deal, $3.3 million, to join Minnesota to be their backup 3/4. Again, literally the exact same Kyle Anderson role, although I don't ever think that Ingles will push into a 29-minute spot if someone gets injured the way that Anderson did. Anderson's like 6 years younger, I think. Don't exactly quote me. Well, he can, but I'm not holding to tell you that I know that exactly. That's the age difference. So Ingles is not really going to have any fantasy value at all. We saw some significant declines from him the last 2 years, last year in Orlando. And it's just a solid enough three-point shooting, semi-replacement of Kyle Anderson. Again, I would have loved for Minott and Miller to be given those opportunities, although they're not really the same player as Anderson at all. They're very, very different, whereas Ingles is, I won't say he's the most similar player in the NBA to Anderson, but he's got to be pretty close to it. Slow player, obviously, the nicknames. Or the nickname of Kyle, anyway. They can pass as a 6'8" forward. Ingles is just a better shooter. Anderson's a better defender. And that's one of the big moves that happened. The other one is one that's really, I think you've all got to sit down for it because it's our mate. It's the big fella. It's Alec Burks going from the Knicks to the Miami Heat. And that signifies that Miami means business. They've entered their hat into the free agency arena. They've started to sign guys after the 25th millionth failure at acquiring a star that everyone wants to come there and join Heat culture. And we're going to make a big splash. They did it today. Alec Burks is here. Get ready. Boston doesn't stand a chance anymore. Alec Burks was okay early in Detroit. He struggled a bit in New York. He's not going to have a starter's role in Miami. That's Hero and Rozier, I'm guessing, as the starting backcourt. I don't really know what else they would do there. But Hero has had injury problems very clearly. Rozier had some issues at times last year and missed the end of the season with that neck problem. So there is a chance here that Burks, he's not a draftable player. I'm not going to suggest that. You're not stash him just in case. But there will be times, I'm guessing, that Alec Burks plays starters minutes and can have value. But their team is also, weirdly, for as not good as I think they are necessarily. I don't think Miami is very good, and I think their regular season finished the last 2 years and playoffs this last year is pretty indicative of how they are as a team. I'm not sure that they got any better. Like, it's basically, at this point, the exact same team with Khalil Ware there and signing Alec Burks. But their backcourt is Hero, Rozier. There's Richardson and Robinson coming off the bench. If you consider Huck Ayres a 2, he's not, he's more of a 3, but he's there. And now there's Burks there. But that's their team. They got 17 guys signed. 3 of those are two-way, so 14 main roster players. And that's without Haywood Highsmith or Caleb Martin returning yet. They lost DeLon Wright as well in free agency. So it's Burks for Wright. So they're the same team. Pretty much. I don't have a number on an Alec Burks signing. I think it'd be like... Would it be the minimum? No, I think he'd probably get a little bit more than the minimum. He probably has an ability to get one of their exceptions, I'm guessing. But, you know what? That's really not the point of this. He's just someone that, along with Josh Richardson, is probably going to be part of the rotation, and Huck Ayres coming off the bench. I think there'll be a lot of people expecting Huck Ayres to have a big step forward this year. But when Huck Ayres, Burks, Richardson, Duncan Robinson are all coming off the bench, not sure there are enough minutes there for that to work. Of course, General Soreness will miss games through real injuries or fake injuries because he's complaining about his contract. That's possible. Or he's actually hurt. So there's going to be all these opportunities there in that respect. But otherwise it is, again, it's full of players who are solid enough, but no one who's particularly great. There's scales of that. Hero and Rozier are better than Richardson and Burks, obviously. But in terms of who... Is there a 28-minute-a-night bench Jordan Clarkson player there? Not really. They're all going to be sort of eating each other's value. I almost said the other thing, didn't I? But I didn't. I said they're going to be eating each other's value. And no one's still tuned in, so I could have said it anyway, because no one's still here hearing me talk about Mr. Alec Burks. Today's episode is brought to you by eBay Motors. Passion, drive, and patience. They are the formula for winning championships. It's also what keeps your ride or die alive, also known as your car. I would say that know-how, ingenuity, parts, and industrial strength lubricant also keeps your car alive. Also, we all love industrial strength lubricant. eBay Motors has everything that you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Speed, power, style. eBay Motors has everything that you could possibly need for your car. In fact, they've got 122 million parts. That might seem like overkill to some, but there are a lot of different cars that are around. So they need to have a big inventory of those different car parts. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your car, or you get your money back. What a simple equation that is. So, keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only, exclusions apply, and eBay guaranteed fit is only available to US customers. Cool. All right. I swear, look, they're the only two players in the last 24 hours since I've recorded that have changed teams. Again, if you want to count PJ Dozier, good for you. I'm not going to go through and do full team analyses and breakdowns because there are going to be moves that get made because there's a bunch of guys who are still sitting out there. And we will get to that in a second, who is still available. But in the meantime, let's look at some re-signings because we did have the biggest name on the free agency market, the biggest name one of in the history of the NBA, LeBron James, the big fella, who re-signed. He claimed that he would take $20 million less in order to bring in a select group of people that can help the team win. They didn't bring those guys in, so he took his max. I wouldn't say that I am a LeBron stan. What do you guys call it? A bronzesexual? I wouldn't say that I'm that at all. I do think that LeBron can be argued to be the GOAT. That debate, I honestly don't care about in the slightest. My only care about that sort of debate, Jordan versus LeBron, is if you say that it's one and not the other and it's not close and you won't entertain it, then you're being disingenuous and then you're ridiculously wrong. If you want to think one or the other, whatever, I don't care. What I was trying to say is that LeBron, he gets so much... People legitimately, in good faith, well, no, that's not true. They think they're in good faith, or some of them do it in bad faith. Just tweet things out that are just ridiculous. How could the Lakers give Bronny James... By the way, Lakers, I'm on to you. His name is not Bronny James Jr. It is not. His name is LeBron James Jr., or it's Bronny James. Unless I'm going to call the old man, 40-year-old legend, am I going to call him Bronny James? Because I'm not. And Bronny is going to wear James Jr. on his jersey, which just, it infuriates me. But you know what? Pedantry is a cross that I bear. Talk about, I can't believe he got guaranteed contract as a second-round pick at number 55. This is insane. Look at what Isaiah Wong, number 55, last year got. That is just complete disingenuous garbage. Because Trace Jackson-Davis at 57 got 2 guaranteed years. The same amount of money as Bronny guaranteed. Chris Livingston, another clutch client that Rich Paul said, don't draft him. We have got a guaranteed deal worked out with the Bucks. Pushed him to Milwaukee so he could sign a 4-year guaranteed deal. And let's be honest, he's really bad. Maybe Bronny is bad too, but Livingston's actually bad too. There are a lot of players. It's not a lot. There are a decent number of players picked in the 50s who have multiple guaranteed years on contracts. But we all get up in arms because it's Bronny. It's not because... I guess some of it is because his dad is LeBron, but this is not unprecedented. It has happened literally last year. I think there was 2 guys last year. Yeah, there was. Yeah, Jackson-Davis and Livingston. 57 and 58. And now there's why didn't LeBron take this big discount so they could sign anyone else? Well, who else are they going to sign at this point? He allegedly did offer that. The players there, I know Lakers fans are getting so upset. Oh, what are we doing? We're not signing anyone. I think you guys, and maybe I think the realization is hitting now as well. The Lakers aren't as good as you think they are. Their front office and ownership are bottom tier, at least bottom third in the NBA, and have been for a long time. Pelinka had one pretty good off-season, but otherwise he does so many dumb things. Westbrook trade, terrible. Giving out all these player options to these spuds that don't need them. A lot of what we're in on this guy. No, they don't want to come. The reverse course on the D'Angelo Russell trade. They're just bad GMs with a bad front office. So, if you criticize LeBron for not taking less than this, and allegedly he might take $1 million less to keep them under the second apron, to give them a level of flexibility in some sort of trades, whatever, he might do that, but do it for everybody. Because every player takes as much as they can in nearly every situation. You will have an example, I'm sure, where that's not the case. That someone took this amount of money less, like LeBron did when he was in Miami. But it's small amounts. And who is he taking the discount for here? Who's he getting $20 million less than his $50 million to sign? Who are you bringing in? Because don't tell me it's DeMar DeRozan, the worst fit possible between LeBron and AD. A horrible fit. just LeBron gets so much unnecessary negativity around him that it's ridiculous, I think. Regarding this contract and then regarding Bronny, it was too much for me. Not too much, what do I care? He had a player option on this deal and he gets a no trade clause. Is this the last season for LeBron? Will he take that player option? I think he probably will. Maybe this is his last contract, 2 more years. As for LeBron in fantasy, this Lakers team is unchanged. His stats will be, I'm guessing, unchanged. The only variable is going to be, is LeBron actually a 40% three-point shooter now? Because if he's not, he won't be that first roundish sort of player. It's all about the shooting, the 2 numbers, the free throw percentage and the three-point percentage for LeBron. And that just will push him from the 10th best player to the 24th best player, and then it's about injury. Everything else is for Bronny Sr. is going to be the same. This is who he is. Nothing changes much there. I don't understand the Washington Wizards center situation, a sentence that could have been uttered a million times over the course of history. I thought at the end of last season, they brought Bagley in, salary dump, got some assets. Rashawn Holmes, part of an asset thing. They were there. Brought over the big fella, Tristan Vukcevic, at the end of the season. I thought he looked all right. He can shoot, he can defend okay, he's big, he rebounds. That's nice. I thought there's a chance that maybe he enters the season as the starting center. Then they drafted Alec Sarr. I went, okay, well, I guess Sarr's going to be the center because it's a clear opening there, especially with Kuzma at the 4. But then they went and renegotiated Rashawn Holmes' contract, which honestly doesn't change a huge amount because Holmes could have just picked up his player option anyway. But instead he declined that and they signed him to a 2-year deal with a non-guarantee on the end, which gives them extra flexibility in trades, whatever, that's fine. They signed Valanciunas to a backup center deal, 3 years, $30 million. So Valanciunas, Bagley, Holmes, Sarr. They declined Vukcevic's team option. Then they declined his restricted rights and then brought him back on a 2-way. I think I like a lot of what Washington has done in the front office, but I don't understand that at all. Valanciunas is fine. He'll set big screens. He'll probably help a little bit with Sarr. We hope they don't overplay him or overfeed him the ball. The Sarr Kuzma 3-4 fit will be pretty bad, I think, if that's what they end up doing. But again, they don't care. They want to lose. And it's fun to make the Troy Weaver jokes. I know, I make them. I don't think Troy Weaver's doing this, but that is just Bagley, Holmes, Vukcevic, Valanciunas, Sarr. It's a lot of effort investing into the center spot. Especially when Vukcevic was picked in the second. I think that Vukcevic and Sarr could work together long-term as a pairing. But now that he's on a 2-way, it seems that he is absolutely not in their priority plans. Or part of it is, hey, we've signed you to a 2-way. We'll trade away Bagley, Holmes, Valanciunas, whatever. During the season, we'll convert you. We'll give you a 4-year, $6 million partial or last 2 years non-guaranteed at the end of the season when we convert you. I think there's a chance that we might be playing the 50-game dance with him. Maybe he's part of the rotation as the backup center. Oh, he probably won't be because Sarr or Bagley will do that. And then we get a run from him towards the end of the season and we see how Sarr, Vukcevic can work together. I'm pretty sure they are nowhere near from finished. It's just frustrating at the moment. And then our man in Miami, Pat Riley, continues to cook because he brought back Tom Bryant on a 1-year, $2.8 million contract. Now, Bryant proved that he's not an NBA caliber player anymore. One of the worst defensive big men in the NBA. They just drafted Khalil Ware. And is Orlando Robinson still on that team? Because he had a chance last season to... No, he's gone. Oh, no, he's still there. So we've got non-guarantee on Orlando Robinson. So we've got Bam, Robinson, Bryant, Ware. Is Bam going to play at the 4? I don't think he is, because I'm pretty sure that Nikola Jovic, Little Chungus, is going to lock in as the starting power forward. Butler, Rozier, Hero, Jovic. Pretty sure he'll lock in as the starting 4. Bam at the 5. Ware maybe as a backup, because I feel alright about saying Ware's already better than Tom Bryant at this point. Maybe he's not. I feel alright saying it, though. Yeah, so that's the big moves Miami made. Tom Bryant back on a 1-year, $2.8 million contract. Cool stuff. But at least Jimmy Butler's up at 3 a.m. going to the gym. And then there was one other trade. Not trade, my bad. Signing. The big fella, Nate Williams Jr., also known as Jonathan Williams. Terrible name. Nate's much better. He's back on a 2-way with Houston. What did he play last year? 4 minutes? Pretty sure the big fella Jonathan played with Portland the year before. But he is back now in Houston, ready to sit around and do nothing. Nate is 24. Oh, he played 6 minutes a game for 22 minutes. There you go, 122 minutes for the year. 120 minutes. 132 minutes. Something like that. And that's it. That's the signings. So who's left? Like I said earlier, there's 142 players who played in games last season who are available. The biggest one is DeRozan. And there's no money. So DeRozan is going to... Like, I thought that Chicago... This happened literally last time to DeMar DeRozan in free agency. No one wanted him. Chicago overpaid by about $15 million and negotiated a sign and trade and gave up their first round pick, which they still haven't given off to the Spurs, in order to get him. And DeRozan was much better than I thought he would be. But as always, with these sort of players like DeRozan, there is a very significant limit on what they allow your team to do. And now we're 3 years older on DeRozan, and it's the same thing playing out again. Is he going to sign for the mid-level? I don't think he'll want to. Who's going to sign and trade to get him? Who's going to be the new Bulls who give up legitimate assets? Because you can sign and trade without giving up anything. The Warriors signed and trade for Anderson, and they gave up cash in a second-round pick swap. Not even a pick swap. The Bulls said, take a first-round pick, mate. You can have it. Negotiating against nobody. Ourselves. Cool. We'll beat ourselves in this one. That's the big one. DeRozan, who's 35 now. The other ones that are important, Tyus Jones, not going to have a starting role, I'm guessing. Gordon Hayward, probably not a rotation role. 38-year-old Kyle Lowry, probably not. We got word of maybe a sign and trade for Budrick Hield heading to the Warriors, which I reckon would include things like, obviously, Philadelphia, Golden State, maybe Minnesota, a few other teams expanding that out. If Hield does go to Golden State, well, I have no idea what to make of that. Curry, Podziemski, Melton, Moody, Hield. It's too many guys. Wiggins, Kuminga, Anderson. It's too many guys. If Hield is actually there, that's too much. Gary Trent Jr. still available. Malik Beasley still available. And what is very, very weird about almost all of these players who are available, save DeMar DeRozan, is almost like a fantasy basketball waiver wire, is they're all just three-point shooters. So maybe the NBA needs to look at the fantasy basketball model and just go, we can just stream in threes. Kyle Lowry, Bud Hield, Evan Fournier, and Gary Trent. Markel Fultz, not so much. Malik Beasley, Tyus Jones, not really. But Luke Kennard, Doug McDermott, Robert Covington. These are just three-point streamers. Then you got some other, like Seth Curry, Sadiq Bey, Chuma Akiki. These aren't three-point guys. Patrick Beverley, Jay Crowder. Justin Holiday. I think I talked... I missed one. I missed a signing. I am so sorry because this was a funny one. It was the artist formerly known as Taurean Prince. He went to Milwaukee, where Darvin Ham and him get to reunite after a absolutely terrifying couple of months apart. He has a real chance to just play the Jay Crowder role. 23 minutes a night, and we don't care. I think that's going to end up as simple as that. We're just not going to care. From a fantasy point of view, Kemba Walker also retired, by the way. But I missed that one. Taurean Prince. My bad. Oi, we just got... here we go. Chicago Bulls restricted free agent Adama Sanogo has agreed to a two-way contract with the team. Cool. Things are moving. So who else is still available? Miles Bridges. So it's DeMar DeRozan, Miles Bridges, Bud Hield, Tyus Jones. The only guys who really, when they sign, will make any sort of level of a ripple. Unless you're a big Taylor Horton Tucker guy. And if you are, probably wouldn't watch my Overrated Players show next week. The other interesting one's going to be Precious Achiuwa, who the Knicks declined the restricted rights on. Weirdly. But their backup center's Jericho Sims. Now, Achiuwa's bad. But they need somebody. Simone Fontecchio is restricted. Thought he could be their starting power forward, but no, they signed Tobias Harris to too much money. Dario Saric is there. Dennis Smith's there. Lonnie Walker's there. Lamar Stevens, Sandro Mamakilishvili, the God of Hammers, JT Thor, BJ Boston, Chimezie Metu, Hayward Highsmith, Lukas Šamanić, the Italian cock Nila Gallinari, Thad Young, Pat Mills, Taj Gibson. He's not going to play the whole season for the Knicks, don't worry. But that's where we're at with that. Weird stuff. Caleb Martin still unsigned. We'll see what else goes down. But yes, Sanogo, one that just was gone through not that long ago, and Taurean Prince, some other signings. Sanogo back with his team, the Bulls, to sit there and do nothing. In terms of what we need on teams. I think that's an interesting thing to look at as well as I try to pad this show out. The Knicks need a center. Robinson's fine. At the moment, he has to play more minutes. And Tom Thibodeau will not want to play small. He might have to, but they need a center. The Pelicans have one center, Yves Missi. Unless both of these teams are going to go with Julius Randle and Zion Williamson as their centers, they're running into real trouble. They both need a center. New Orleans more so, desperately. Philadelphia needs a forward. I don't know who are they going to... They have to trade someone because they have no power forwards. Oubre's not a 4. Paul George won't play at the 4. Unless they do go small and George is the 4, Oubre the 3, and they start McCain and Maxey, or they start Maxey and someone else who's on that team, I don't even know. They need a 4. They're probably the biggest gaping holes in starting lineups that I can see at the moment. Like you could say Charlotte needs good players. I know. Fine. Maybe they don't... Yeah, the one that'll be interesting is Miles Bridges, as much of a shiploke as he is, him in Philadelphia would fill that 4 slot and would be a basketball fit pretty good. I think he's overrated, Miles Bridges, but I think it'd be a good fit. It looks like he's going to have to take really low contract. The centers, there's not much, man. Daniel Tice, Boban, Yurtseven, Damo Jones, Moses Brown. There's nothing. So if New York and the Pelicans want a center, Ibu Baji, Michael Potter, there's nothing there. There is not a center that you want there. And that's weird because center is one of the more replaceable positions. But some teams have gone crazy. Why did Washington sign all these guys? Why did Drew Eubanks go to Utah? It's a lot of those situations. Like Portland, do they position themselves well having Klingon, Ayton, and Williams? Where the Pelicans are like, can we can have Ayton, surely, can we? Let's see. Buzz around Ingram, buzz around Markkanen being traded. There's going to have to be trades because there's a lot of incompleteness with teams. Otherwise, some teams are going to go into the season with gigantic issues in their rotations. And I'm just trying to see how long I can push this show out to see if any more news drops, but it won't. So I'm going to tell you goodbye. Because this is my last live at the moment show. In 3 hours, I will be at the airport taking off to go to America, be in California for a bit, then head to Vegas for Summer League, and then back home. There are shows pre-prepared, ready to load out for you guys next week, and I hope you guys are going to enjoy them. Stay tuned to my socials, stay tuned to my feed here on YouTube as well for little breaking news things that happen, which I'll be covering. And then I'll see you fresh back in like 2 weeks. Again, 4 more shows are already locked and loaded, plus a big grouping of short-form content as I record in stadium and on the streets of LA. Maybe I'll do street talk style, try to interview some people. Guys, we are done here. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. See ya.